we're going to wish this computer a very happy 30th. See, at the time of recording, this Compaq LTE Lite 25 and LTE Lite 20 turned 30. Today is January 27th, 2022. Well, at least at the time of recording, it is January 27th, 1992. So what kind of computer could you purchase on that day? Well, you have a system with a 386 SL processor, either a 20 or 25 megahertz model, depending on what you could find. You have the 9.5-inch passive matrix display with simultaneous brightness and contrast sliders, but which may or may not be working on this particular system. The built-in mice did not come out for the Lite until later in the year, June 1992 to be exact. So this particular model, you would have to provide your own mouse device if you want a mouse. And we move on. Standard keyboard. The battery's on the left. It's either going to be a nickel metal hydride or nickel cadmium, depending on what you would have purchased. Most of the machines I've come across have the nickel metal hydride battery. And on the right is something unremarkable. This machine has a built-in modem. Not all of them have them. Some have absolutely nothing in this slot. And some, in rare instances, have a second serial port. It would go right here if you have such things. Of all the LTE Lites I've worked on or purchased over the years, I've only come across one that had such a configuration. That happened to be an LTE Lite 425E. And ports, pretty standard back in the day. Serial, parallel, VGA, a docking station that looks like a desktop replacement from around the era, a place to put in a number pad, and you could put in your own keyboard or mouse, or mouse right there. And of course, last but not least, the power. And you could get 2 or 4 megabytes of memory on board, depending on what you purchased. Most of the ones I've come across are 4. And the CMOS battery is good on this device, so the system will turn on. That's some issue with the 386s, is that you need working CMOS battery. The hard drive, by default, is either an 80 or a 120 megabyte drive, depending on configuration that you may have purchased or inherited, whatever the case might be. Oh my goodness. Screen's not particularly bright on this unit. And my unit has a 121 megabyte hard drive. And 4 megs on board. Pretty boring configuration. I believe this particular system has a Seagate 120 meg drive. You were lucky if you got one of them. And very standard version of DOS 6.22. I believe these came with DOS 5.0 when they were first released, whatever the latest version of DOS was available at the time. Some had a special compact variant, some didn't. Now this machine also has a significant piece in history, and we don't even know it, or at least most people wouldn't know it. Is that this standby is one of the very first of its kind to have such a thing. In addition to that, I don't think I have the utilities installed on this particular system. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do anyway. Yeah, I don't have any compact utilities installed on here, but this is the very first system in existence that had hibernation capabilities. Back in the day, if your battery were to deplete, the main battery that is, and you had a second one you wanted to swap in, but you didn't want to lose any of your work, or you couldn't afford to lose any of the work, the machine would go into a hibernation state. You would swap out your battery or put in another power device while the machine briefly had no power, and you'd be able to turn the machine on and be right where you left off. For that, you need a 7.2 Nikon battery. I don't remember the part number offhand, but you have to take apart most of the computer to get to it. It's the hibernation battery itself sits right underneath this general area, right at the top of the keyboard. This is one of the first machines to offer such configurations. So that's going to do it for this. Happy birthday to the Compaq LTE Lite 20 and 25.